Hello, I am Daniela Aguirre, and I am in Miss Silveri's class. I'm in her 5th period, and I'm going to do my video exam for 1984. And I'm going to start with step 2, and what we have to do is answer a couple questions about our experience in room 110. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. So, how have you grown as a learner throughout the course of the semester? I think that out of all my years of schooling, I have grown the most this semester. Growing up, I was very impressionable, very naive. Just last year, I remember I like teachers are always right. My parents are always right. I've learned to question things, to do my own research. It's not about learning. It's not about what you learn, it's about how you learn and growing as a learner. Because even after high school, when we won't remember anything we learned, because I don't know a parent that remembers anything that we learn. We will keep learning. After college, we will keep learning. And the skill of being a learner, that's what really helps. Not the things you memorize and then you forget a week later in math class or in history, or yeah. So that's a skill that I have, that I am so thankful for. Yes, so I'm going to go on to the next question. What is the most important idea or argument that was generated in this semester's discussions, and can you explain this concept in your own words? Tremendously, the thing that has shaped me the most and has had the most impact in my life, this is something that will forever be helpful to me, is our lesson on selfishness and how the opposite of love is not hate but selfishness. Love, being kind. It sounds so cliche, but it's like I've learned to not think about myself so much. I've learned about doing things to benefit others and not thinking about how I'll benefit. A big thing that I've learned as well is to not be so hard on people, I guess. When they do something wrong towards me, I try to think of how they're feeling or how I feel when I do something wrong and I don't mean to do it. And that's something we talked about in class, when you don't mean to do something and then somebody gets mad at you for it, and you're like, wait, I didn't mean to do this. Why? I didn't mean it in this way, or, whatever. That is something that I've, now, it's like every time somebody does something to me, or I want somebody to do something for me, I always think about how they feel, or empathy, like putting myself in their shoes. And I think I am just a different person than I was last year. Another thing that I've also think that has shaped me is to think about people as more than just the person you see on the outside or the smile you see on the outside. You never know what somebody is going through on that day, and maybe the thing you say to them, if it's nice, it can make their day, and if it's not very nice, then it can break them. Like, it could be their breaking point. So those are things that I will forever, ever, ever have in me. Things that I won't forget. I'm way more aware of when I'm being selfish. When I'm being selfish, I'm like, Daniela, you're being selfish. Daniela, come on, And I feel like I've had a better time at home as well. With this lesson, I don't know, I have grown so much. My home life is better, I try to do more things for my mother, for my stepdad, for my sisters. I try to put myself in their shoes, I've cooked a lot lately, I've cleaned a lot, just to kind of, just because I feel like I love my mother, and you can't mix love and selfishness. So that's one thing. For the next question, how do you think that this issue is viewed by those whom you disagree? I think that this issue is not too much about other people disagreeing with me, but it's more like a battle in myself. I feel like it's whether I'm selfish or not selfish. I feel like I'm just fighting myself, really. And this is a very hard battle, because who doesn't like their own satisfaction? One thing after, during a lunch period, I stayed with Mrs.Silveri, and we were talking, and I remember we were talking about how helping others satisfies me. Like, if I see somebody doesn't have money, I'll give them money, but I'll do it for my pleasure. You know, I'll do it because I'll be like, oh, you know, that makes me feel good about myself. But lately, I've realized that I've been giving a lot. I've been, you know, I feel so changed. Like, I've been giving a lot, and I've really not been expecting anything in return. Yes. And then, how can and will you use what you've learned in this course outside the four walls of our classroom? I think I pretty much explained all those things, whether it's growing as a learner, growing as a person, loving, kindness, not being selfish. All of those things are skills, are life skills. They're not school skills. You know, after I get out of college, you know, those are skills that I'll always use. So now I'm going to go on to part 1, and because I'm running out of time. So I chose the second prompt, and it says, in some works of literature, childhood and adolescence are portrayed as times graced by innocence and a sense of wonder. In other works, they are depicted as times of tribulation and terror. Focusing on a single novel or play, explain how its representation of childhood or adolescence shapes the meaning of the work as a whole. Now, I chose this topic because I feel like the children in this novel really show the power and the manipulation of the party towards the people. And I guess I'll go ahead by comparing kids from other novels and movies and, you know, life, and then comparing them to the kids in 1984. Kids in other novels are usually they're very naive, they're very playful, they're very carefree, they just want to play. Their whole life really revolves around toys and candy and food, and they're not very aware of their surroundings, they're not aware of politics, they're not aware of, you know, the war going on in Afghanistan. You know, the kids in this novel are very uptight, they're very patriotic. They worship 24/7. They sing. They worship Big Brother, the party. They growing up, they actually are workers of the party, and they are, you know, kind of the police. They monitor their parents, so they can't be trusted. Their parents are actually even scared of them because they will tell on them, and when they do tell on them, they get seen as these child heroes. And that's really, I think that's what really shapes them into thinking that's a good thing, to work for the party and to be a part of that. They feel like they're a part of that. And children are very impressionable, they're very naive. And when you start molding them into what you want them to be, you can, you know, plant that idea into their brains. And that's kind of like it is with parents too. Parents can mold their kids, raise them however they need to, you know, however they want to, I guess. And they, you know, they'll grow up that way. Just like religion, you can grow up with a religion, and it was very hard to question that afterwards, you know. Or being racist, there's people that are like, I grew up being racist, so, you know, it's very hard to question those things. Winston started thinking for himself. 2 + 2 was 4 to him. But with Julia, it was always 5. Even though she saw problems here and there, she was shaped that way, and she was one of the ones that couldn't escape that. In the novel, I'm just gonna go ahead, I'm sorry, what does that sound? Okay. In the novel, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about, in the first or second chapter, when, Miss Parson? She told Winston to come fix her sink, and he went in there, and her children were mad at her because they couldn't go to the hangings that were going on in the square. And I feel like that just shows how crazy these kids are, because no kids would want to see a hanging. Like, if my sisters, like, I think about my sisters and how, like, who would want to go see a hanging, or even an adult? Like, that's crazy how they've been brainwashed. Oh my god, I'm running out of time. And so I'm gonna go ahead and stop there because that's 10 minutes, and it says here that I can't exceed my limit. So yes, I hope you guys enjoyed, and have a nice day. Bye.